Hello, fitness family. Sarah Pellegrino here, your host of Talk Data to Me, coming to you live with ASF and Club OS's own Nick Hahn, VP of Product. Nick, welcome back for episode 2 of Talk Data to Me.
Hey, Sarah, great to be doing this again. I'm really excited about this topic. It's one that's pretty close to home, personal for me, so I'm glad we're going to be doing this.
I love it. Well, as you know, if you turned into episode 1, our focus this season will be to look at certain generational trends and the data we have to support them, as well as ideas or changes that you can implement in your fitness business to directly benefit certain age groups, all to help you, our fellow health club owners, make informed decisions when it comes to different generations in your gyms. Today, we have the distinct pleasure of speaking with Burch Valldejuli, partner of mActivity in New Haven, Connecticut. Burch and her partner have figured out the secret sauce to planning consistent member socials, and she is here to share with us today the profound effects that these socials have had on her business. Burch, welcome to Talk Data to Me.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Nick, for asking me to join you. I look forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. We are so excited to have you. Nick has just been such a fan of your business for quite some time. So, Burch, kick us off today and tell us about your background and how you ended up owning a fitness business.
Well, quite frankly, never in my life would I imagine I'd be owning a fitness business, but my background was in psychiatric research, and specifically, I was always interested in resilience and looking for a preventive model of mental health. So spent my first chunk of time at Harvard and Harvard affiliated institutions, and then came down to Yale at the School of Public Health. I knew what we needed to do and didn't want to study it anymore and just wanted to do it. We needed to move, we needed to sleep, we needed to engage with other people, we needed to eat a healthier diet. And it was really this whole package of what inspired me to look for a partner in the gym industry and open mActivity.
That is so cool. And you hit the nail on the head with that one. It can be that simple, can it?
Yep.
Wow. Well, Burch, I would love it if you could set the stage for today's conversation by sharing how many members you have at your location, how long you've been in business, and then the gender and age distribution of your membership base.
Well, the membership before COVID was at 1,600. And then, like everyone else in the industry, we lost, a considerable amount of our membership. And as of the end of September, we were back to 1,378. Because we're in a university town, we have a large number of graduate students. So our age distribution, I would say, the primarily is sort of between the ages of 25 and 55. And the last metric that we had for our gender distribution was that we were at approximately 62% women, and with remaining 40, whatever, 8% is men.
Wow. Okay, awesome. And you've been in operation for how many years?
Starting in January, we'll be going into our 9th year.
Wow. Amazing. That's so cool, Burch. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Okay, so very female focused, right? We have mostly females in your fitness business. Burch, walk us through the idea of the member socials. Where did this all come from?
It actually was a part of it from the very beginning. People often talked about the third space, creating your home away from home. And that was something that we had in mind from the very beginning. Like, I've never walked into a health club that is set up the way ours is, that when you walk in, you actually walk into this very large living room, co-working spot. And we also had a conference room that was available to the community for free for meetings and events. So we had this very large front of house and gathering spot. So from the very get-go, we knew that we were going to have a monthly member social, but also allowed people to use the space, the whole front of house, after hours for large events, of which the very first large event we opened in January, and that subsequent February, we had a fashion show and a very large party as sort of our grand opening for the space.
Oh, so fun. Okay. So you knew that you had a social group on your hands and that they would
Yep.
respond very well to the socials if you continued to put them on.
But that was also part of this, why we created mActivity the way we did, that the social aspect was very much part of it in our planning process.
That's awesome. All right. So walk us through how often you are doing these socials, Birch.
So we do the socials monthly. We do them the first Thursday of the month because it's a slow evening at the gym. So it's, we have a little more space. And, people go out on the weekend. You don't want to have a party on a Monday. So, they say Thursday's the new Friday. So we settled on that. We try to theme them sometimes and give that latitude to our staff to come up with those themes. Some of my favorites, just in the past year, was we had a May the 4th be with you, because the first Thursday in May happened to be May the 4th. So it was perfect. So we had a Star Wars theme. And then in June, we had prom, and it was a semi-formal, and dancing and DJ and photo booths, and it was a blast.
Oh my
But we
gosh.
let the staff really, the more engaged your staff is in coming up with the ideas, the better.
Oh, how fun. Well, that's a huge staff engagement tool. First of all, I'm sure they
Yeah.
love planning that. That's so cool. Birch, do you think that your member socials, we talked about this concept that we're all reading about. It's this epidemic of loneliness, right? And, during COVID and then almost post-COVID, it really hasn't gone anywhere. And, is this your way of just facing that head on?
Absolutely. I mean, the idea of this is nothing new. Going back, I think it was in the 90s, a book came out called Bowling Alone. So this loneliness epidemic is nothing new.
Mm.
And as we know, with the increase in social media, and as you mentioned, COVID, it's just even that more difficult to really have real, authentic FaceTime interactions with people. And this is just such a terrific opportunity. And it's also, members can bring friends or family, and it's a great way also to market the gym and get people into the gym that would not otherwise have maybe stepped through the door.
Awesome. You walked right into my next question, Birch, because I would love to know, in your opinion, right? If there's data to support this, great. If it's just feedback that you're hearing, equally amazing. What are the results that you're seeing from these socials?
We don't have any hard data per se, but I do know that attendance, depending on what month of the year it is, runs anywhere from, let's say, 80 to maybe 120 to 150 people. Like prom, obviously, was a huge success. And that we do see that people do invite their friends, and it's not just members that come. And indeed, sometimes we have repeat friends that have come. We definitely see more tours the nights that we have the social. So people come in, they're like, oh, I've never been in here before. We can give them a tour. We have definitely had some people join because of the member social. They're like, oh, I've been here with my friend 3 times. This is great. Love it here. So indeed, I think it's not just new people coming, but as a retention tool, I think it's fabulous.
That's awesome. And
We get lots of very positive feedback.
oh, I'm sure. And you had mentioned to Nick and I that so what times do you run the socials from on
We run them
Thursday?
from 6 until 8 o'clock.
Okay, so are you seeing certain members come from 6 to 7 and then maybe other people come later?
Yes, correct. So that's sort of how that's influenced sort of how we pace what we do. So we do have a class on Thursday evenings that gets out at 7. So we always make sure to hold back some of the food so that there's enough for the second wave, as it were. Um, And although we say we end at 8, if it's a great party, it can sort of go on. We close at 9. If the weather's good, we have a deck outside and people hang out outside.
Oh,
But we start putting out everything ready for 6 o'clock.
that's awesome. And then as you are advertising these events and after they happen, I'm assuming that you're putting that on your social media, right?
Absolutely. It's a great social media opportunity. We get lots of tags from members into their own social media tag to us. We obviously put on our own social media. but it's very fun, especially when it's a costume or a themed event. It's just terrific.
Everyone loves a good theme party, right, Nick?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, that is so fun, Burch. Well, if you are listening to this, I'm sure you are equally as excited as Nick and I were when we first talked to Burch. So, Nick, I'm going to pass it to you, my friend. I would love to know, in your opinion, what is it about the age distribution or even the gender distribution of Burch's members that makes these socials such a hit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, doing a lot of research on this, and I think there's a lot going on just in the country at large. But according to McKinsey research, 50% of Americans do report wellness as their top priority in their daily lives, and that's really driven largely by the generational shifts that have happened. So the American Psychological Association found that 70% of individuals in some of the older generations report that they already have very good or excellent mental health. So 70%, that's a fair number. But that number is down to 56% for millennials and 45% for Gen Z. And then even worse is the impact that has happened over the last, we'll call it 12, 13 years to teenage girls and their demographic. So back in 2011, the teenage girl demographic reported persistent feelings of sadness at about a rate of 37%. Today, that number is just under 60%. And that's the exact demographic that Burch's membership is made up of heavily, right? 62% former teenage girls, right? And in everything they went through in their life to become who they were. And it's just going to continue. Like, those numbers, we're not doing enough as a society to bend the curve that's going on and going through and increasing. So it's activities like this that are really helping people cope with the reality of what's going on.
Absolutely. And I think too, again, you have this huge, I call it the work from home generation, right? So you have Gen Zs, millennials, the boomers have run back to the office, let's be honest. Okay. But those younger generations, they're maybe forced back into the office. They're going there 1 or 2 days a week. But if you're working from home and you're living alone, okay, or just with your immediate family, your social interaction is so much more limited than it used to be. So to not only have your health center be where you go to work out, but also to be a place that you can meet new friends, that's incredible, right?
Even the reduction of like post-work happy hours, right? Like, there's no happy hour between my son's bedroom where I work and downstairs. Like, that's not a thing that happens. It just doesn't happen as much. So being able to get that social aspect when I go to the gym, that's a wonderful. I would love that if my local gym offered a social like this. Like, it would be terrific. Like, unfortunately, New Haven's 3 hours away. I'm not gonna drive up there every month, but like, that would be such a great value add to my membership.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. All right, Burch. So we love this idea and we really want to know how you go about implementing these on a monthly basis. So it is mid-October, going into November, going into the holidays. What are you looking at? Are you assigning someone this next social? Are you looking at your marketing budget? Walk us through what goes into plan.
We have our manager sort of spearheads it, and we've done this so many times, we really know exactly what to do. So we do have a relationship with a local restaurant that does catering. So we've been consistently working with them. So we do trays of usually some sort of pasta vegetable type dish or with a protein. We do salad, have some, come on, even though we're at the gym, we all want a little sweet treat. So, if it's like mActivity's birthday in January, we'll get a sheet cake. Other times, we do things that are more seasonal. We do cheese and meat and fruit platters. We do salsa and chips. So we usually do a run to like Costco or BJ's for those items. We do have a liquor license, so we are able to get wine and beer wholesale. So we order that in advance. We usually just sort of We usually make some sort of like a sangria or a festive, drink along with that, with the beer, wine, and obviously seltzers and the finger foods. And that's what we do on the food. We now use the smaller plates. When we use large dinner size paper plates, then people really went to town and we ran out of food too soon. So I would say that really helps. But you don't have to do it as a meal. You could just do it as a cocktail party, finger foods. There's so many ways to do it. We also, one of our members is a DJ. So again, for these more themed, more special events, we'll have a DJ, which really amps it up, and he does lights and everything. I did buy a regulation beer pong table. We do use water, not beer, at least at the beginning of the party in the cups. And then for holiday themed ones, we usually have some sort of like craft or family activity, like at the holiday time, maybe cookie decorations or paint mini pumpkins, in the fall. I mean, you really can make it as fun as you want or keep it very low key. It really depends on what you want to do with your club. It's also a terrific opportunity for local businesses to maybe showcase their offerings. So we've had people like a smoothie bar down the street had free samples and was able to pass out, information. A fresh food pre-made meal delivery service brought in their wares as well. So, look at it as an opportunity to connect with local businesses in your area.
I know there's just, again, Gen Zs, millennials, they're just these generations that are so focused on supporting local, buying local, right? So you're supporting a local fitness business, and then that local fitness business is also supporting other local businesses, and they have to appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So cool. And then Burch, on average, what are these member socials costing you each month?
On average, $1,300. Some of them, the more ones that are a little lower key, you could do for 700. Sometimes we'll splurge and it will be a little bit more, but on average, 1,300.
Awesome. And to give our listeners just an idea of what percentage of your monthly marketing budget is that?
It's approximately 21% of our marketing budget.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Burch. Nick, in your opinion, what do member socials and activities do for driving new business?
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to turn your members into micro influencers, right? So like we talked about social, and the members are posting, people like to be sold by people that they perceive themselves to be similar to. So like obviously staff's going to talk about how much they love the gym. They're being paid to say that, but what do the members actually think about the gym? So having members bring their friends into the gym in a low pressure situation, there's no sales pitch, you're just there to hang out. It's a great way for friends to experience that atmosphere of the gym, which very often the atmosphere of the gym is the selling point for a new member. It really also reduces the intimidation factor that could be in place for a new member when you're going to a place you've never experienced before. Finally, it shatters that unconscious bias that that friend might have of what they expect the experience to be like at the gym, at your specific gym, and it really gives them the opportunity to experience it. I mean, Burch is having somewhere between 5 to 12, 13% of her members show up. That's such a huge portion of the population that can attend. Like as a friend of a member going, like I'm going to get a real feel for the vibe. And is this a place I want to belong to and work out with and really commit to being my home away from home?
100%. Burch, I hear a lot about that staff retention is still just such a difficult point, I'll say, for health club owners right now. Do you think that mActivity just being this place of happiness, right? It's this, you're doing something social each month. Do you think that is helping just keep your staff happier in the workplace?
Oh, I have a fantastic staff right now. We do monthly one-on-ones, and it's in the first week of the month, so we're in the thick of that right now. And it is just a joy to hear each and every one of them say how much they love working for us and working together. But, as you know, it's all sort of shift work. So the social is a wonderful opportunity for our staff to all be together because we all make an effort for them to come and pay for them to clock in for those 2 hours. And so they get to have a party too. And it really helps with staff cohesiveness and that they plan it together as a project. And, I've had very little turnover. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later because, we're paying them really well. And we don't have a sales force. Our front desk staff is our sales force. And so it's terrific. And they really love talking about it. And they go out and they wear their mActivity jackets and, like to walk around town and talk about the gyms. It's a good retention tool for them. It's not just retention for members.
Oh, absolutely. That is awesome, Burch. You mentioned to Nick and I that your business is truly a safe space for your members and your staff as well, and that the vibe is just very peaceful and serene. Is there anything else that you feel is just truly different about mActivity that makes everyone feel that way?
Well, I think I've been trying to come up with that word because serene doesn't sound like you can really get your workout on. But one of the things we did from the very beginning was we determined we would not have loud pounding music, that we have all this natural light. We didn't want it to be just like blaring, overhead lights. We made the decision from before we opened that we would not have televisions. We don't have a single television in that gym, not even in the common spaces. It's so divisive right now. We don't need that extra stress. We only have mirrors where they're required by form. So to really keep that gym intimidation down and body dysmorphia, we have a very, very strict policy, which is sort of a tension when you want to look at this micro influencer aspect you were talking about, Nick. But there is no photography or videography allowed anywhere in the gym other than the cafe area. And the fact that we have such a high percentage of young women means that they really do feel safe there. We have a zero tolerance policy for any innuendo or any of that. If necessary, we'll call a member out and suspend them for a period of time. We just have no place for that. We also worked with a consultant and have an excellent transgender policy. We live in a different time in the world, and being in a university town, this is something that we wanted to address very early on. And we have gotten such incredible feedback from all of our members about this because the final line of the policy states that no one should be looking at anyone in a locker room or anywhere else in the gym, that it's so that's the culture that we promote. So the social, then if we're a safe place, then to know that you can be at a social and have it be a safe social environment, it just makes it all that much better.
Wow. Well, kudos to you and your team, Burch. That is really, really incredible. You've done the work, you've done the research, and you have absolutely created an incredibly safe space. So awesome work there. You mentioned to Nick and I that post-COVID, you raised your membership prices. We love this topic. And you did it for the first time in about 4 years. So tell us what you experienced after you did that.
So we know, as any business person does, is you look at all the levers that you can manipulate. And really, when, it's not like, oh, let's get less expensive trash cans, or, and you look at places that you can, where are you going to cut costs? What's the minimal amount of staffing that you can have without it impacting the member experience? All of these things. And what we really realized is that the biggest lever was that we should raise our rates. And we actually engaged some of, everyone sort of has their kitchen cabinet of their most honest members or members that you can communicate with to help us with how we would communicate this increase. We raised our prices substantially, like an average month-to-month membership was $79 a month, and now it's at $118. So it was a significant increase. But as we know, it wasn't just the cost of goods. It was, it was really the cost of services, which means how to retain quality staff. And we wanted to be able to offer, we offer a concierge benefit. So we're not saying you have to use it for health. We let the staff choose what they want that benefit to go towards. And we raise hourly rates by, in some instances, $5 to $7 an hour. When you look at, the gym market is competing like for desk staff with McDonald's, and they're paying way above minimum wage. So, that's just something we can't do anymore. And when the members realized, because people, especially this age group that is my demographic, care very deeply about paying a living wage. And when they knew that that's where the money was going, they were, for the most part, very supportive.
That's awesome. Nick, is that pretty consistent with other price increases that you've seen with other customers?
Yeah, from a perspective of how much churn Birch saw, which it seemed like in the first 30 days or so, Birch saw like a 2% churn rate of total membership that was associated to price being an issue, right? So that's about normal for what we see. It is in that 1 to 3% typically. We actually have recently published a blog article on our website about it, where you can go check that out to kind of read a couple more perspectives. The shocking difference, though, is that those the examples we've pulled from our customer base was a 1 to 3% churn rate on an average of like a 6 to 10% price increase. So the fact that mActivity did a almost 50% price increase and had the same level of churn, I think really speaks to the culture and the environment that's been created at mActivity, and that the members really felt they were getting almost a steal for being a member before, and they felt like, yeah, it was reasonable to be paying a 50% increase to still get this, there's more benefits to it, but still get the same gym at the end of the day. Like, that just is such a testament to the entire staff, and from Birch and her partner on down, of just like what went into building mActivity and creating the space that it's become today.
Wow. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for season 2, episode 2 of Talk Data to Me. We hope that the information shared today will help you strategize your social calendars to exceed the expectations your members and staff have of their gym being a social hub. Thank you both so much, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you so much.